There is no guarantee for success, but there are ways to get closer to it when you do the right things. Who you surround yourself with is just as important as what you do. Finding the right people, the right classes, the right activities, and taking the right tests are all decisions that shape your future. Find out more today on Destination University with Dr. Cynthia Colon. Dr. Colon and her guests will give you the tips you need, whether you're a student, parent, or educator. Now, here is your host, Dr. Cynthia Colon.
Welcome to Destination University. We're running a special series this month called 30 Teens, 30 Dreams. We're following teenagers who have been admitted to college and are trying to figure out just where they're headed to in the fall. It's an exciting month every year for seniors. April is the month to make that choice, to make that decision of where you'll land at home. And today you're in for a treat to meet Lauren. She's got some good advice for you. If you are a college-bound teen or a champion of one, you are exactly where you're supposed to be. So, as I said, you're going to meet Lauren, and she's going to tell you her own story and her own journey and really what it's all about. It's all about figuring out you and what's best for you. So, before we get started, I'm going to give you the hot tip of the day. The hot tip of the day comes to you from bigfuture.org. Our friends over at bigfuture.org want you to go on over and create an account. It's completely free. It helps you walk through the college admission process. And as you can complete different steps of the process, including building a college list with 6 or more colleges, you become eligible to earn scholarships every single month. So this is especially for juniors or rising seniors, class of 2023. Okay, Lauren, are you ready? Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Oh, I am telling you guys, you're in for a treat. It's been a while, Lauren, but it's good to see you.
Yeah, it's good to see you.
Our viewers and listeners should know that it's Easter Sunday that we're recording this. So happy Easter, everyone out there. And let's just dive in, Lauren. I love your story. And why don't you start by sharing a little bit about kind of where you're from, the type of high school that you go to. You go to a school that's highly known, it's very visible in the media, and it's competitive. So with that in mind, how did you make your journey to creating your college list?
Yes, so I am from Southern California, and I go to Modern Day High School, which you may have heard about in the news lately. I promise lots of good things there. I love it, but it's definitely a very competitive school, not only for sports, but also for academics. So kind of coming from Southern California, like small little beach town, I know I want to live here when I grow up. So I definitely wanted to go somewhere where I have seasons and big football games and like somewhere a little different than California, which I love, but so most of the Cal State schools and UCs just didn't really seem like they were the best fit for me. So I definitely tried, like when building my college list, to look at places just everywhere over the country. I applied to schools in like so many different states, so many different opportunities. And like, I think forming my college list, just trying to find something new and exciting.
Well, I love that you, I use the terms pretty, perfect, and prestigious. And that's typically the go-to for many teenagers. And certainly I imagine that on your campus, you hear a lot about the name brand schools. So are there schools that you ended up applying to that were sort of new and different? Like, did you, investigate something that might be new for someone who's listening going, oh, maybe I should check that out?
Yeah, definitely. So there were some schools that I don't even remember applying to that I just like clicked check on the application box and then randomly received like an admissions letter one day. And I was like, what the heck is this? So I definitely think there were a couple schools that I weren't really on my radar that I still applied to, that I ended up like University of Indiana. I applied to, had some friends going there, like didn't really think it was anything. And then I went and visited and I loved it. It was such a great school, like great business program. And I ended up taking it off my list just because I didn't think it was the right fit for me. But there were definitely schools like that, like Auburn, Clemson, just some like Colorado schools, things that I don't really even like recognize like, oh, I should go there. And then once you kind of get in and look into more at what they offer, I think it's really cool being able to see what they have that I never really expected.
I have to ask, did you apply to the Indiana for the business school, the Kelly
I
school?
did, yes.
And were you?
I didn't get direct admission. And at that time, I didn't really understand. So for Indiana, you either get directly admitted or you have to apply to get in. And it wasn't on my radar, and I didn't apply to get into the business school. So I would go through their standard admission process if I did go there. But definitely keep an eye on like emails these colleges are sending you, even if they're not on your list, because you never know what your mind may choose.
Yeah. Well, I'm a California girl as well, so I'll have to just disclose right now that I was married before my ex-husband went to Indiana University, and he insisted that he wanted to show me where he went to school. And so, being from California, I just never thought anything about, a school in Indiana. And it's beautiful. If you're watching or listening for the first time and you've never been to University of Indiana, it's gorgeous. The limestone building, it's really pretty. So yeah. And the Kelly School of Business. Yes. Great. Oh, well. Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of business, one of my favorite things about you is your entrepreneurial spirit.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I call your coolness factor. So for those of you who are watching and listening for the first time and you've never heard me talk about a coolness factor, for me, we talk about really what is each student has sort of something special or unique or different about them. They typically haven't maybe labeled it, but every student has one. So Lauren, share with us your entrepreneurial background and your summer project.
Yeah, sorry, you just cut out there for that whole period of time. You're like glitching in and out. So can you repeat that? Yes.
Yeah, sure. So tell me about your coolness project.
Oh, yes.
The thing that you do in the summer. And that's my favorite thing about you, because you're such an entrepreneur, and that's really what helps students stand out. So share.
Yes, so I run my own little summer camp. I think this is going to be my 6th or 7th year doing it, but I started it in like 6th, 7th grade, and randomly was just like, I want to have my own business. My mom runs her own business too, so I've always been like inspired to do something like that on my own. So I decided to do this, and every single summer since then, I've had 1 or 2 camps where I plan for months in advance. I set up reservations, registrations, I collect payment and manage my money with purchasing things, and then I have a whole week-long camp full of about 12 girls where we do crafts and games and activities and everything. And it is definitely challenging with all these crazy little girls, but it has been like the most rewarding thing in my life and taught me so much about running a business and the responsibility behind it, as well as like what I want to do in the future, and knowing that I can always run my own business.
Now, what gave you this idea to begin with? Like, how many years ago did you start it?
So I started it about 7 or 8 years ago. I was on a spring break trip in Northern California up at the beach, and my sister and I and her friends, I always like loved being like a babysitter and stuff like that. And so I decided, I was just like, Mom, Dad, like I'm gonna have a summer camp of my own. And like I started it, like I love doing little plays with my sister's friends. And so I decided, like, I wrote my own little play. I'm not a theater person at all, so it was very new to me, but I wrote a little play, and then I just texted some moms from my school, probably off my iPad, and they were like, okay, sure. I don't know why they trusted me when I was that young, but ever since then, it's just grown and grown and grown. And I think I actually just sent out the camp registration for this summer, and I think we filled up in 2 days, and we have a wait list like a mile long already. And it's really rewarding to just feel like everybody wants to come and loves it. And it's fun to see all the effort I put in, like, come out so positively.
Well, what a great way to say to colleges that you are exactly who you say you are. You want to do this, and you've already shown evidence that you can run a business. So I just think that's super cool. So see, everyone who's listening, if you're a freshman or sophomore, it's never too early to start your own business. So what a great role model you are. So
Yes.
the two questions are, a flip of each other. What did you do right? Looking at the last 4 years, because college admissions is all about what you did in your years of high school.
Mhm.
What did you do right? And what would you change if you, God forbid, have to do this all over again? What would you
Yeah.
do? So, there you go.
So I'd say like the two main things that I did right. Number one, it's going to sound like an ad. It's not a paid partnership, but the essays. I swear, right when I was like over the summer, I was like, I don't need to write essays. I'm going to have time. And I got 5 or 6 done in 1 week. And I felt so confident about them just because I knew that you had read them and edited them. College counselors that you have hired have read them and edited them. And I didn't feel like questionable about them. So then when I went into senior year, all I had to do was fill out the questions like, where do you live? What are your transcripts? And all of my friends were freaking out because they had to write so many essays in such a short period of time. And I think getting them done like fast, but also like feeling so confident about them was so helpful in that process. And then along with that, also just getting involved in any single little thing you can, even if it's just like saying you're in a club that you maybe don't even do a ton for, but just like having so many things. I think like I just filled my schedule constantly, and I played volleyball and soccer, and I did this camp, and I volunteered, like having so many things that they can just say, oh wow, like she was involved in a lot, I think definitely adds to your grades and your essays and everything like that.
Okay, so I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna inject, and it's not a paid ad, but I remember having one of our follow-up meetings in the fall, and so I went back and read your essays again, and they're so good, Lauren. They were just so good.
Thank you.
Each one of them really uncovered another layer of you. It's just, you did such a good job. And I do often say that those 20 hours of essay camp, you'll get more done in 20 hours with us, with a guided expert coach, than you will 20 hours on your own.
100%.
Yeah. Okay. So what would you do differently if you had to do this all over again? What's your advice to others?
I would definitely say like beforehand, like when you're looking at your colleges and like trying to decide which ones you want to apply to, instead of just saying like, I definitely was just like, oh, I'll apply to this one, which ended up great for me. But one thing that I would have changed is saying like, what are my top 5 things that I really want in a college, and going through and like saying these colleges have it. So then when you come down to your actual decision, you kind of have all options that fit what you really want, and just kind of saying like narrowing it down to the colleges you want, obviously with safety schools and range schools, before you even apply rather than after, which I got lucky with, but definitely a tip that I would have done.
Okay, so good. Yes, one of our other interviews, Kinsey, she said she came down to like 4 things that had to have their must-have. So that sounds like you're saying to come up with your must-have list. So
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Okay, it's right around this time that I usually do the drum roll and say, share with us where you're going. But take us down on like where's your head now, what you're thinking, and how will you're still, I guess, 2 weeks away from having to absolutely make a choice, but where's your mind right now?
So I went and visited a ton of schools, loved all of them, but I ended up just like narrowing it down to the University of Wisconsin and the University of Tennessee, which are both 2 like very different schools, but I really loved both of them. Coming into the whole process, Wisconsin was like one of my top schools. I loved it so much, and I still do, but definitely like going and visiting Tennessee, and I had no idea what it was, some random school like in a town I'd never heard of, and I fell in love with it and like the Southern charm. So I definitely think, just trying to figure out like whether I want that Midwestern, like really fun sports like school, or if I want more of like a Southern school. They're both just different, but I am really happy with both my options that I ended up with.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I've never actually, no, that's not true. I've been to Wisconsin, but I've never actually been to University of Tennessee. I remember the football, and I remember sort of there. I know some people who've gone there. And tell us about Tennessee. What did you fall in love with?
So I'd never been to Tennessee ever in my life. So we started in Nashville, which I like fell in love with. I was like, oh gosh, if this is like an hour away, this is gonna be so fun. And then everything is like red brick and old. It's very historic. It's been around since like forever ago. And then they have like they have good sports. Then the SEC, which I thought was fun. But what I love most about it, I think, was just like the Southern charm and how it's so different than California. Like, I never expected people to stop their cars when I was walking across the street. Like, it's just so, I love the Southern aspect of it. And then it's right on a river, so people sailgate, which was cool. And it definitely was just like very different than what I ever thought I wanted.
Oh, I love this story. And then, so Wisconsin, I think we are more familiar, Californians, even though it's Midwest, big Pac-12 and Big Ten, they're in the Rose Bowl, and we're just more familiar. So is it gonna, if you choose Tennessee, will it go against the grain of other friends at your school? Is it gonna be something different?
Yes, so definitely Wisconsin's become like the next big Boulder, like USC or something. So I already know like all of the popular kids at my school, like there's already 10 or 12 kids headed to Wisconsin, which is not a pro or con, but it's definitely like the next big thing. So I think just trying to differentiate, like worrying about the opinions of other people versus like what I truly want, whether that be Wisconsin or Tennessee, like trying to figure out like making the decision based on my opinions, not based on like what other people will think of my decision, has been like a process.
Yes. Amen. We can say amen to that, right? It's Easter. So, you choose your list, you make your list with your head, you go through sort of systematically and you try to pick schools that are going to be right for you and appropriate for your academics and your co-curriculars. And I often say that students, at the end of the day, you're going to choose your home, your college, with your heart. So think about that as you make your way. We'll definitely check in with you. I'll have to have an update on this video the end of the month on May 1st when you make your deposit. But you're going to be great. You're such a rock star. I'm always in awe of you. I was when I met you. And but entrepreneurs have a little special place in my heart. So you're gonna be awesome wherever you go.
Thank you.
So proud of you. So congratulations. Hang tight with me. I'm gonna do the wrap up and then we'll just wave goodbye. Okay.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, did I not tell you you were in for a treat? Just love Lauren so much. Okay, my friends. Well, if this episode has in any way fueled your confidence or helped build your dreams, please share this episode with 3 people in the next 30 minutes. If you do nothing else, parents, please join us on our Facebook group, Destination University, YOU, because the destination is not university. The destination is, in fact, you. And that's exactly what Lauren is trying to accomplish. You heard her talk about essay camp, and so many people are talking about it. We are officially open for registration for our summer camps. You can go to drcynthiacolon.com/essay camp, and you can register there today. Be sure to follow us the rest of the month of April and possibly just a few days into May as we get caught up and catch with all 30 of our teens for this month. So they're all just as special as Lauren. So, all right. Well, all right. Say goodbye to everyone. And thank you so much for taking time today out of this, your Easter Sunday.
Thank you.
I always like to interview Catholic students on Easter, so it's quite a treat.
Yes. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right, everybody. Have a happy and sunny day.
Thank you so much for listening this week to Destination University. Be sure to join Dr. Cynthia Colon again and get one step closer to your success.